is not using any rubber. If they're going to use a rubber seal on the outside of this thing around here, more for cosmetics, as it goes down, this is being straight up and down. The outer rim of this bell housing going down here could be a little tapered, and they could put some rubber on the outside so that it would be underneath. But as the back side of the brass coming out here and coming down will be in this ring here, grooved into it, so that the brass is also hitting the top of this here and is also being compressed into the top of this part here, being compressed back up inside this housing here. So at the same equal time the pressure is being put here, as it also is being put on the top piece on the outside, going down on the edge right here and smashing the brass over the edge of it here and sealing it here, that's sticking out inside here. This can all be set up in a jig for a temporary run in a machine shop somewhere with a big hydraulic ton press to smash this brass to see how well it will take it, and without having the cap put on the top, so you can examine the compression in a factory setting. So that this thing here all it has to be done is adding a stick up from the top. At that point in time here, this plug here can be made bigger and put into a T, where you can have two valves going off of it for oil going up, one injecting fluids in, one taking the oil up off the same top there. Now let's move on to the next thing. I'll have to kill this thing to check it out. Outer ring, which is going to be much longer. The bottom of this outer ring here, about 1.5 feet down, this is the bottom of the lower flange here. This is inside the ring here as it's being lowered down over. When it goes down over the outside of the flanges here, this will be the front here. When this thing is in position and the frogmen come along with their little robots, they'll shove this thing over here so that this part here hits the edge of the bottom ring here. This has got to go up, okay, on the bottom ring, which is pushing the pressure up this way, but in the meantime it's going to be pulling down on the brass here. Okay, the only way you're going to do that is you're going to have to put a device through the back of this. But when this is slid inside here, this here will be clear out to here. These bolts here will be inside the ring as it goes up. It'll be inside the ring here. You won't see it. When the thing slides down over the top of it, these will be hidden. When the frogmen shove their little robot fingers out there and shoves this underneath the bottom flange here, then these here, right here, start torquing up like this, and when it starts pushing up this way here, it's going to be pulling this outer ring down and compressing the brass on the top. This is the compression thing here that BP doesn't show, doesn't want to be shown, or it should be in there and here. This is just this sits inside the outer ring and slides out here. This can be clear out to here even farther over here. This can be sticking out even further here. I don't have enough whiteout pen marker here that I use to do this. So this just slid over here as this thing goes down over the top. As it goes down over the top, pressuring it here, for some odd reason that looks like they can get it down to get this onto, okay? And if not, they can have screws on the ends out here to come up here that are sticking still inside here that will go up here and will, even though there's oil pulling, trying to separate the two materials here, these screws on the end here can be compressed and shoving up against the bottom flange, pushing it down, and the ice that turns to oil to ice, hydrocarbons they ever call it, that slices through everything, will have to fight first of all the Teflon, and then if as it bounces off of it or chews it up about 1 inch thick, taller than that, to something to bounce off of, the brass behind it, I don't think it's going to, it'll start biting into this being the picture on the top. This is where the brass plug will be here, and this will be the flange right here, and this brass plug will be coming down as close as it can out here, and in front of it will be a Teflon. This will be a slot here that will be sticking out here, that the Teflon will come down with a relief in it, just a slight one, so that the Teflon gets smashed in here and here in front of the brass, which comes out over the edge of the flange here, and it gets smashed as the screws come up from behind. Check that. BP. I already sent you a couple emails, a lot of good it did. Probably lots of other people sent you emails too, they don't know what they're doing. nobody seems to know what they're doing. They're all attacking the hypotheticals, and nobody's come down to the mechanical garb. You got to be able to work with the tools, know what the hell to get the job done, and nobody there in BP does, and none of these politicians do. But the problem is that this can be fixed, and be permanent fix when this flange goes down on there, that to make this well back into production, whether not being capped is a profitable way of doing it. You got a lot of money tied up there, you got a lot of bills to pay, and a lot of people want to be paid. And since Uncle Sam was giving you the route to get you 2 more wells down on the ground, and Obama's come along and says he stopped doing something that has been doing all over the world, except nobody's done it right. And as far as this here acoustic valve at the bottom, I got a better idea that it's a lot cheaper than $500,000 to put it on the ground at the bottom of the ocean for a shut-off valve, automatic or self-activating, and for a lot less money than $500,000. It takes more money to get it down there than it is to make it. But you know, you've got my phone, my emails, Ernie to you. That's 2u@hotmail.com. Don't jam the airways with it. Have a nice day.